cars for a cool $1 million. Bugatti revealed its most powerful supercar yet, the $10 million Cento Dieci.
Yeah, that's Italian. That's
okay,
good.
yes, I nailed it. All right. It has a top speed, by the way, of 240 miles per hour. The company is only making 10 of those, and they're already sold out. Sorry.
$10 million car.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Yeah, well, I got nothing. That's not something I'd spend my money on, but that's obviously I couldn't pronounce half the cars in that story right there, so not my deal.
You can't even pronounce them, you can't afford them.
Yeah, no.
All right, that's our time for now. Back here again tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.
And right now at 5, a Michael's frozen custard shop is closing in Madison, while the owner says the other locations are also in jeopardy of closing.
Plus, Quinton Cephas takes the field for the first time since being readmitted back into the UW. What head coach Paul Christ is saying about Cephas's return.
From the Channel3000.com Alert Center, this is News 3 Now at 5.
Thanks for staying with News 3 Now. Madison will soon say goodbye to a classic custard place of more than 30 years.
The original location of Michael's Frozen Custard will close its doors next month. And as Rose Schmidt explains, the fate of the other two shops is uncertain. Rose?
Yes, an immigration attorney tells us that the owner of Michael's Frozen Custard might be forced to move to Mexico because of his spouse's immigration status.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood institution.
Nestled on Monroe Street,
We were here when Michael's opened. I think it was, they said 33 years ago.
Michael's Frozen Custard has become a generational sweet spot for neighbors like Mike Kepler and Mary Beth Keppel.
When the father of these kids was there, we used to come down after supper, after dinner, for a treat.
But their visit today is now bittersweet.
We came here today and just heard it today.
Yeah, I'm really kind of surprised. It's been here forever and ever.
Yes, Michael's original location on Monroe Street will close its doors for good.
I think it's just really a heartbreaking situation. I mean, Michael started this business 33 years ago using his grandma's custard recipe.
In 2015, the owner, Michael Dix, married Sergio de la O Hernandez, who is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Dix sponsored Hernandez for a U.S. visa. He went to Mexico a year ago for his visa interview and was told he wouldn't be given a visa and couldn't come back to the U.S.
Sergio and Michael are very fearful that Sergio will never be allowed to return.
The couple's attorney says Hernandez had been in the country illegally for so long that he needed a waiver to come back, and that waiver was recently denied.
They're both devastated at this news. They were hoping for good news and that they could continue on with the process.
They've appealed the decision, but as Dix travels back and forth from Madison to Mexico, he has to make some hard decisions for his business.
There's nothing else like it around here except for this one.
And some of his best customers say they will miss their sweet treats.
So the neighborhood will feel the loss.
The attorney says the appeal could take 6 to 8 months. If that appeal is denied, Dix will likely be forced to close the other frozen custard locations and move abroad to be with his spouse. Now, we reached out to the U.S. Department of State to find out why Hernandez's visa was denied, but they say they cannot comment on specific cases for confidentiality reasons.
It's a tough situation for the couple.
Tough situation and big
employees,
loss.
yeah. All right, Rose, thank you.
Thanks, Rose. The Trump administration is rolling out a new plan designed to discourage migrant families from coming to the United States. The new regulations would effectively end the Flores Agreement, which requires the government to release detained migrant families into the U.S. within 20 days. Under the new plan, migrant families would stay together but would be held indefinitely while judges consider their asylum requests.
By eliminating the incentive to make the journey to the United States as a family, the new rule will reduce the unprecedented volume of family units that has strained the already limited resources of our department components and put children throughout the region at risk.
Now, the American Civil Liberties Union released a statement calling the new regulations yet another cruel attack on children who the Trump administration has targeted again and again with its anti-immigrant policies, adding the government should not be jailing kids. President Trump said today his administration is looking at ending the right of citizenship for the U.S.-born children of non-citizens.
Let's get a look now at your first alert of weather. Meteorologist Chris Reese is out in the backyard patio. Hi, Chris.
Hello. We're finally seeing a little bit more in the way of some sunshine after a little bit of cloud cover rolled in earlier on this afternoon. Here's visible cloud track. You see where that heaviest cloud cover was just to our south. but now things are clearing out. And we're going to see more of that as we head into the rest of your evening and then even into the overnight hours as well. There were some showers that passed just towards the south of the state line, perhaps even a few thunderstorms into northern Illinois. Of course, we stay dry here in south central Wisconsin, and we are staying dry right now. 78 degrees our temperature, with winds coming out of the west and northwest at 8 miles per hour. As we go through the rest of the day, look for clear skies taking hold, and overnight tonight we'll see those lows fall not just into the 60s, but perhaps the low and mid 50s.
All right, Chris, thank you. The Rock County Medical Examiner's Office has identified the Milton man killed in a crash in Janesville. They say 23-year-old Colin Lucas was pronounced dead at the scene. It happened yesterday morning on I-3990. The State Patrol says a semi was heading south when it was hit by a Ford pickup. That pickup was then hit behind by Lucas, who was driving a Chevy Silverado. The driver of the Ford suffered minor injuries. The driver of the semi was not injured. A Watertown man was found guilty of second-degree sexual assault of a child in Dodge County. County officials say in April of 2018, Juan Malaga inappropriately touched a child. As a part of a plea deal, Malaga's bond was revoked and the court ordered him into custody until he's sentenced. Malaga now facing up to 25 years in prison. A sentencing hearing is scheduled for November 22nd. A suspected drug dealer is arrested after he was served a search warrant at his apartment. Madison officers raided 40-year-old Christopher Brodell's apartment, which is in the 1900 block of Northport Drive. Officers say they found a loaded gun and several drugs during the search. Brodell faces several drug charges, including maintaining a drug trafficking place and 3 counts of delivery of cocaine. Del Monte is selling its corn packing plant in Cambria. According to the company, it will sell the plant as an operating facility to a new buyer at the end of the current packing season. Madeline O'Neill is live with what that means for current employees. Maddie?
Well, this is a major employer. To put it in perspective, Cambria has about 750 people. This plant employs hundreds of seasonal workers and has full-time employees as well. So a sale of such a major plant might sound worrisome, but a village official says it's really not. Here's why. A Del Monte representative says employees will be eligible for severance pay, but according to Glenn Williams, the Village of Cambria president, he's been assured the new buyer will allow current employees to keep their jobs at the plant in the long run. Williams says the plant closing has been a concern in the village over the past few years, so it's great news. It's staying open even under a new name.
You got trucking companies that work with the factory, that all those people would be out of work, the actual seasonal workers, the full-time workers, the tax base would be affected. It would have been a huge impact, and so we're very happy to hear that the new company is planning on keeping it open.
According to the Wisconsin Department of Workforce Development, it has received no layoff notice from Del Monte about the Cambria plant. We still don't know who the buyer is, but Del Monte has owned this plant for about 20 years, but it's been around in some capacity for nearly a century. Coming up at 6, we'll hear more about its history and what it means here in Cambria.
We will see you then. Madeline O'Neill reporting live. Thank you.
Vision's nightclub may soon lose its liquor license more than 8 months after a shooting and stabbing that happened right outside the building. Members of the Madison Common Council are meeting with club owners and their lawyer tonight. This is at the direction of the city attorney's office, which filed a motion earlier this week for the Alcohol License Review Commission to revoke the liquor license and 21 and older entertainment license. The city attorney's office said the nightclub is decreasing quality of life for neighbors and is not following ordinances. Vision's lawyers say they plan on fighting the accusations vigorously. UW football coach Paul Chryst says Quinton Cephas is practicing with the team. This comes after the wide receiver was reinstated at the university after being found not guilty of sexual assault charges. Kevin Lewis joins us with more on Quinton Cephas' first day of practice. Kevin.
Not quite like riding a bike. Again, it's pretty close. Cephas hasn't played in the game since November 2017. Since being away from the team over the past year, he's been working out on his own and staying in shape. But he was back today wearing the old number 87. The Badgers didn't do a whole lot during practice today, so it wasn't anywhere close to a game-like situation, but it didn't have to be. Head coach Paul Chryst doesn't want to set any timetables for when he thinks Quintez will be Quintez again.
I think he's done a good job of doing just that, staying in shape, and then there's, getting back with the guys and running plays and going up against defenders, all those things. So there's still enough for him to work on. There's nothing that happened today, and it was not a long practice, and certainly didn't get a ton of reps, but I think he can add a lot to this offense.
The players were very happy to have one of their brothers back. And coming up on News 3 Now Sports at 6, we'll hear from running back Jonathan Taylor, linebacker Chris Orr, who've been with Cephas his entire UW career in a very long year and a half. Everyone's happy that he's back.
He knows the offense, right? So, he at least knows the offense.
Coach Chris says, some things have changed, but come on. He has a playbook, for sure.
I don't think it'll take him too long.
No, we'll see. Yeah.
All right, Kevin, thank you very much. Love it or hate it, the recognizable sculpture outside Camp Randall is now gone.
The iconic Nails Tail statue was taken down this morning as the university prepares to make some changes to the area. Our Danica Lewis joining us now with the details. Danica?
Well, Mark and Eric, that 50-foot pile of footballs has been around for almost 15 years, and plans to renovate the plaza around the field house do not include the work of art. So, ahead of next week's season opener, crews spent the morning taking down and shipping out that Nails Tail sculpture. The foundation should be removed before the first home game in a couple of weeks. The UW says it will store the piece about 15 miles off campus until a new site is finalized. Students who live nearby say in the short term, it'll be strange to not have anything on that block.
Well, actually, I didn't know it was coming down today. I thought it was on a later date, so it's actually kind of surprising. I saw that in the news this morning, so I think maybe people who have been around the neighborhood for a longer period of time might be more sad about it, seeing it go.
The entire $1.8 million renovation project for the plaza is set to start in February and wrap up in time for the start of the 2020 season. The artist who created Nails Tails told News 3 Now this morning that the university has been very respectful throughout this process and is committed to finding a new site for that sculpture. We'll just have to wait and see where it'll pop up again.
TBA. All right, Danica, thank you.
Today, the Senate Health Committee heard arguments for and against a new bill that would license dental therapists in Wisconsin. A coalition of more than 50 groups is urging the legislature to join with other states and countries facing similar shortages and pass a bill licensing dental therapists. The position just a step below a dentist. Wisconsin's bipartisan measure was introduced in March, but it faces opposition from the Wisconsin Dental Association and Marquette University, which houses the state's only dental school.
Providing dental practices the option to include these well-trained dental professionals in their dental teams will allow for increased access, lower patient costs, and savings for the state, all without compromising the standard of care.
It doesn't reduce cost, it doesn't get more people care, and it is simply unnecessary to create an entirely new workforce from the ground up when we know that investing in your existing workforce will efficiently solve the problem.
Dental therapists are currently authorized in Arizona, Maine, Minnesota, and Vermont, and also tribal communities in Alaska, Oregon, and Washington.
Well, the start of the school year just days away, and News 3 Now is helping you and your kids prepare for the upcoming year.
Our Josh Breider shares tips on how to prepare healthy snacks.
Think about your morning routine during the school year with your kids. It probably starts with breakfast, maybe packing a lunch or snacks for later in the day. Dietitians say the success in the classroom actually starts in the kitchen. They say we shouldn't think in terms of good food or bad food when filling up those lunch boxes. Instead, try to take a well-rounded approach. Carbs can help your kids get going, but things like protein and healthy fats will make sure they aren't hungry all day. Most importantly, keep the message surrounding food positive.
We want to make sure that, as parents, even our job isn't to talk about the how much. We need to trust our kids to be able to self-regulate. Right. Our job is to make sure that we're providing the foods for them, creating a positive and safe environment for them, and then also being good role models.
We're helping families head back to school all month on News 3 Now this morning. Tomorrow, Lee and I will be talking about how you can ease the kids back into the school year sleep schedule. We'll see you starting at 4:30.
All right, Josh, thank you. After 2 years on East Wilson Street in the former Cardinal Bar location, Nomad World Pub is moving. According to a Facebook post, Nomad is moving to 408 West Gorham in September, which is the location of the former Brickhouse BBQ Restaurants building. Nomad will continue operating at its current location until September 8th. The following weekend, it'll open at the new location on Gorham.
All right, firefighters with the Ettrick Fire Department, this is up in Trempealeau County, responded to this unusual rescue yesterday. They were needed to help this cow safely get out of the pool. We have very few details on this crucial story out of Trempealeau County. Thankfully, their hard work did pay off, and the cow was returned home safely. Much cooler. Just looking for a place to cool off.
We looked it up on Google after the 4 o'clock news, and apparently cows are good swimmers.
Are they really?
That's what, right, Dylan?
Well, I mean, a hot day.
Yeah.
They just want to find a cool place to go.
Who doesn't?
All right, more to come on News 3 Now at 5. Up next, police across the country continue to arrest people for making threats online. What an expert is saying about it.
And coming up tonight at 6, Fitchburg police are asking people to check their home surveillance video in connection to early morning robberies.
On Wall Street, the Dow climbs 240 points. The NASDAQ adds about 72. S&P up 24. We'll be right back. In recent weeks, police around the country have foiled multiple alleged mass shooting plots.
Newly released body cam video shows a 15-year-old being handcuffed in Florida after posting an online video game under a fake name that he vowed to bring his father's M15 assault rifle to school and kill 7 people at a minimum. In Indiana, a 38-year-old truck driver is in custody after a friend reported him for allegedly planning to carry out a mass shooting at a Memphis church. NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and counterterrorist expert John Miller says in most cases, suspects will signal that they might be planning something.
The patterns are fairly clear. If people learn what they are and have the ability to step forward and say, I'm going to report this, we're going to have fewer of these.
Miller says it usually takes 3 or 4 stressors in someone's life for someone to start sending those warning signals in person or online. The FBI does have a 24-hour hotline to track down online threats, but if you see something and know who the person is or where they are, authorities are asking you to report it to local police.
Concerns are growing around the economy. President Trump says the economy is strong as he walked back his own statements about looking at a payroll tax cut. The president is calling on the Federal Reserve to cut rates while continuing to hammer the Fed chairman that he appointed, Jerome Powell.
If he used his head, he would lower them. Jay Powell and the Federal Reserve have totally missed the call.
I don't want a recession to happen. There are definitely indicators, you only beat up the Federal Reserve to lower interest rates when you're worried about the economy.
Several companies say the trade war with China is hurting business and may lead to higher prices, and a majority of economists predict the U.S. could see a recession by 2021 at the very latest.
Let's get a look now at your first alert weather. Meteorologist Chris Reese has your forecast. Hi, Chris.
Hello, guys. We are watching temperatures drop as we head through the rest of the afternoon and evening. Right now, though, we did see highs into the upper 70s today. 79 is where Madison made it. Low 80s as you worked your way down towards the south and east. And our average high, get this, is 79 degrees. Our average low, 59. We're going to be likely below both of those as we go through the rest of the week and perhaps into the weekend. We fall in a degree, 78 degrees right now. Winds coming out of the west to northwest at 8 miles per hour, but we're seeing more in the way of some sunshine now that the cloud cover is all starting to roll on to the south and east. Here's how that cloud cover shaped up for us as we went through the past 6 hours. A lot of thicker cloud cover worked its way throughout extreme southern Wisconsin, but more sunshine filtered in as a cold front gradually began to push this whole system, bringing some rain to parts of Iowa further towards the south and east. In fact, let's take a look at the setup. I'll go ahead and show you that cold front. It has a couple waves of low pressure riding along it. High pressure coming in out of Canada. That high pressure, folks, continues to push towards the south and east through time. That is what's going to settle in on top of us. But check out the dew points as well. Just on the other side of this high, they're nearly tropical as you work your way through parts of the Ohio Valley and the central Midwest. But in time, the lower dew points, as you see just towards the north, will begin to push their way towards the south as this region of high pressure settles in over the upper Midwest. It's simply going to keep us very pleasant as we go really through the next several days. We may even get in on a little bit of a drier lake breeze in time, but let's go ahead and put this in motion. Hour by hour through tonight, our lows reach the mid-50s as those temperatures continue to fall. The skies will clear out as well. Into tomorrow, more sunshine, perhaps a few decorator clouds here and there. We'll see those highs right around 75. And then tomorrow night, look for those lows again into the low 50s. Perhaps even some upper 40s will show up. By Friday at lunch, a lot of folks are still struggling with those temperatures into the 60s. The reason for this, we've got a push of colder air coming in out of Canada. Now, the core of that will actually settle in over parts of the Great Lakes. We'll warm up a little bit by the start of next week. Watch what happens out of Western Canada, though. Another push of some cooler, drier air works its way in. This could potentially be the first taste of fall for a lot of folks in the upper Midwest by the time you get you towards, say, this time next week. We're going to be watching that one closely, but as we go through tonight, again, partly cloudy and cooler. Look for those lows right around 56 degrees. Into your Thursday, mostly sunny. We'll be staying cooler and pleasant as well as those temperatures top out right around 75. Then we extend that forecast out just for the next 7 to 10 days and get this, there are very few rain chances. That would be Monday into Tuesday, perhaps another little rain chance next Thursday night into your Friday. Of course, we're watching traffic for you guys as well as you begin to head home. This is the Beltline at Fish Hatchery, which is very slow going right now. There were reports of an accident that I do believe has just been cleared, so we're starting to watch things improve just a little bit. But if you are headed both eastbound and westbound from about John Nolan all the way over towards Verona Road, you're going to run into some slowdowns, especially as things get going for folks headed home on this Wednesday. Downtown, a couple more brake lights showing up as well. Moral of the story, give yourself just a little bit of extra time and patience so that you can get home safely today.
Good advice. Thank you, Chris.
Ahead on News 3 Now at 5, many Americans aren't saving enough for retirement. What you need to know to secure your financial future after the break. Welcome back. About 3 out of every 4 working Americans are saving for retirement.
But a new study finds not everyone is saving enough. Kenneth Craig explains.
35-year-old Terrence Ciula only recently started thinking about her retirement plans.
I was saving for a while, and then I felt like I couldn't afford it, so I stopped. And then when I got a more permanent job as a teacher, then I started saving again.
She puts about $250 per paycheck into her retirement account, but it's a struggle.
If you don't make that much, how are you going to do it?
A new survey from Bankrate.com finds 29% of people are increasing their retirement savings compared to last year, but half are contributing the same and 16% are saving less. Steve Grimes has a 401k, but admits he hasn't given it enough attention.
It just wasn't something I was thinking about easily until maybe, about 5 years ago. Yeah, and that's relatively late, right? You know, in my mid-30s before I started thinking about retirement, so.
A 35-year-old who puts $5,000 into a traditional IRA every year could have around $500,000 at age 65. But if that same person started contributing when they were 25, that retirement account could be $1 million.
If you're not saving at least 10% of your income for retirement, you need to get there pronto. And once you do, look to bump that up.
Bankrate Chief Financial Analyst Greg McBride says the goal is putting away a full 15% of your income to ensure you have enough to retire. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.
Guess we might stay with us. Yeah, a little bit longer, folks. Another check of the weather in just a moment. Stay with us.
On tonight's CBS Evening News, the Trump administration's controversial new plan to detain undocumented families indefinitely while their cases are decided. Eye on Earth, climate change and the rising Gulf is forcing people from their homes on a drowning island. And the first dive to the Titanic in 15 years reveals the historic wreck is rapidly crumbling. Those stories and more tonight right here on the CBS Evening News.
No good deed goes unpunished, and one Massachusetts police officer found that out the hard way.
Cambridge officer Dan McGinty went to rescue a skunk stuck in a yogurt container. After he successfully removed the container from the skunk's head, the officer got sprayed. Both the skunk and the officer apparently are okay.
Supposedly.
Thanks,
right?
skunk.
It was sitting tomato juice. Is that the thing if you get sprayed with?
I don't know.
With
I
skunk?
have no idea. I've avoided them my whole life.
Yeah.
It's
It's a good thing.
We get them out back behind the station, so look out.
Yeah, I know. I'm always a little apprehensive when I'm out there. But hey, nothing to be apprehensive about weather-wise. We're going to see partly cloudy skies tonight, temperatures falling all the way down towards 56 degrees.
All right, Chris, thanks. Thanks for joining us. We're back in 30 minutes for News 3 Now at 6.